I think the people who are basically against it have been, the people themselves, of GA recipients, a lot of homeless recipients. We've been out in the streets talking to people every day, and a lot of people are really concerned. There's people, the disabled community, people who need mental health treatment, the disabled community, the elderly community. A lot of the service organizations around the city are really concerned about it. And as you see, a lot of people who are supporting it is big business. The Committee on Jobs, which is basically a union of all the corporations here in San Francisco, like Wells Fargo, Gap, all those people are supporting it. The Golden Gate Restaurant Association is supporting it. Basically, all the tourism industry is supporting it, and their agenda is very clear. They want to push poor people and people of color out of this city. They want to make life so miserable that people just say fuck it and leave.
The very specifics of Care Not Cash, and that was to provide solutions.
We lease buildings for permanent housing for homeless single adults. We're the largest provider in the city. We currently have nearly 1,300 units of affordable housing for formerly homeless single adults. So now they're not housed, of course.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you been in that program?
I've been upstairs a year exactly. I went a year ago, and I have another year. They charge 10% of whatever income you have a month, and that's a very small amount of money to pay for really good quality housing.
You got to make your appointments to get your housing. That's all there is to it. Make your appointments. Yeah, if you make your appointments to get your housing, then, but still they don't give us any money, but you can get food stamps. You can go to the food banks, but you have to work at it.
He's hardcore because he's saying that I'm not giving you no money to get high. Right? Okay? So he has a point. But I'm not one to gossip, and you ain't heard it from me, but they don't like that. Right? But he has a point because Ted Koppel showed what they do with the food stamps for Mama San, right?
Well, I'm an art dealer. I own a gallery in San Francisco. I own a gallery elsewhere in another town. We've been in business here in San Francisco since 1983 and in this location since 1984, downtown Union Square in San Francisco. I know, yeah, I'm familiar with Care Not Cash. I think because it had proactive qualities, I liked it. Again, I don't know all the details about it and what that really means, but it does suggest that the basic needs are supposed to be met by giving food and housing to people that need it, rather than having to basically using the money either for drugs, alcohol, or just irresponsibly, people not knowing how to manage money that's given to them by the state.
That's just the regime. It's like the Bush administration. In 2000, the Republicans came into power, and it's been a big harassment ever since. What can I say? That's the truth.
What they are, if you're out here, you only get $39 a week if you're outdoors. Indoors, you get like $400 and something. So, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Well, if I can get GA, I mean enough money to go and rent my own apartment until I can find a job, that would be even more helpful. But as it stands, $39 a hotel a night, and once I'm into a hotel, that's a residency. It's an address, so the check goes up.
it's not really hard. I mean, there's resources here to utilize. So.
You get assistance from this?
No, it's really difficult. I went in actually, like last week to actually go in. It was like the second try to get GA, and I had a hurt leg, and I was sitting on the floor, and the security guard came like bitched at me for like being on the floor, and I was just woke up and hadn't had coffee, and I was like, fuck this. But it's kind of, you have to really, I mean, the system's there for you to use, but you have to there's some like what's it called restrictions and whatever. You have to I mean, if I really, really, really wanted to go and utilize it, I could.
Clearly, when Care Not Cash basically said to people that they weren't going to get a cash grant, and everywhere they've done that in California has reduced the rolls. So there's no question that there has to be fewer homeless people here just based on that. Whether those were people who were hanging out in public, there's no way to know. And many of the people who are homeless in San Francisco have no income, and so it's very difficult to solve their problem because they have no income.
I was born and raised in the city. I've been a police officer since '95 when I got hired on. That's 10 years.
And so have you seen the homeless problem diminish or get worse?
I think it's gotten a little bit better. The Tenderloin at least has gotten a little bit better. I've been down here since '96. So I've seen a dramatic improvement from the way that the Tenderloin used to be. It's still got a ways to go though. I mean, they got to get a lot more people off the street.
We started leasing, before there was Care Not Cash, we had leased about 1,000 units, and since Care Not Cash, or 800, we've leased 5 additional buildings since Care Not Cash.
And what do you think about the Care Not Cash program?
Well, I think it's been successful in greatly expanding the affordable housing base for homeless people. I mean, the problem originally was that people thought it was oversold as a solution to all of homelessness, when in fact it's obviously a small population, but certainly it's housing more homeless people than we had before. So no matter how much people are critical about how it's funded or not being able to serve everyone, there's no question that it's housed 800 people last year, which is more than any city in America in terms of homelessness.
It has changed. I see that there is a less visible homeless problem here. I don't know why that is, but I know that the Union Square, for example, I think they've changed Union Square to somewhat. Union Square a few years ago, before it was redesigned and rebuilt, was pretty much a haven. A lot of people were sleeping on the grass there, and a lot of people were just living, maybe up all night, sleep during the day in the park for safety, I think, more than anything else. And that's not so common anymore.
It's places you can't be, you can't sleep, you can't recreate anymore. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit here and smoke dope anymore. You can't do it.
So when did this all start to change?
2000.
2000.
Yeah, they yanked all the benches out of the square here, and then they changed the park up the street.
This is what got me. We were up at the dog park at Turk and Golf. Started raining. We went across to the baseball field. We have an awning. We weren't spread out. We didn't have nothing out. We were just sitting there. Security guard came by and said, "You got to leave." In the middle of a rainstorm. We walked down the street about 2 blocks down where the Shell station is on Turk. Take it right there, and we were sitting there out of the way, not in front of the business. We weren't spread out. 20 minutes later, you got to leave.
Have you ever been cited?
No.
Twice.
He has.
Twice.
And they call it camping. It's just called trying to find a safe spot.
There's housing for everybody. If the homeless don't want housing, then it's not the way it used to be. They're going to get harassed, especially if they're slobs. There's plenty of housing for homeless people out in Golden Gate Park. If they want to be homeless, then go live in the park.
But wherever we go, when we leave in the morning, the place is clean. See, that's the problem. They think just because you see the carts with all these bags hanging over the side and everything else, that every homeless person's like that.
I smoke marijuana.
That's it? Not doing any crack? No? Alcohol? No?
I can't drink. I have a bad liver.
Is that all you're doing is drinking?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's all we
do. No.
Or, no?
No, we drink. We just drink. No. No. I don't mess with none of that. We're drunks. Alcoholics go to meetings, Louis. Drunks don't.
I lived in Mexico for a year, made a lot of money. Came back, made a lot more money, and then lost it. Went up my nose. Yes. Then I was homeless and I was addicted, and I went through that whole. I call it a hamster run. You know what I'm saying? It's a hamster run. Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm a promoter and stuff. I drink, definitely. It's like a social thing. So I used to throw raves in Seattle, and I did a club night here on Mondays for a while, and I'm trying to work on another party. So drinking's part of the scene.
I did shoot drugs many years ago. I don't have a long history, but I have an unfortunate history. It seems I can't play with anything for very long without suffering consequences. Street people, there are homeless people and there are street people. There are people who have places to live who spend their time on the streets. And I don't want to accuse anyone, but a lot of these are they're hustlers.
Sometimes they'll get donations from Salvation Army, donations from the food bank. They'll come here and sell stuff, and they sell it without a permit. And the reason that they have that section is to prevent people from doing that. And like I said, a lot of the stuff that is frequently sold here is stolen.
Are you giving people tickets for?
Not necessarily. Well, normally we'll advise them once. The guy that was just here, I gave him a ticket yesterday for the same thing, and he's back here selling these little bag lunches that somebody else came out and gave away.
It's the church they came from Pleasanton. They give out 200.
Right, and I understand that. That's fine.
Right, yeah.
But when
Then
somebody
he
tries to turn a profit on it and sell them, that's just not right. That's not what the church intended that food to be. It's supposed to go for people that are hungry. That's fine. If he wants to give them away, fine, let him. I got no problem with that. But when he tries to turn a profit off of that, that's when he's violating the section, and it's not right.
As them, and some are trying to raise money so that they can stay in shelters, and others who might be making money. I'll talk to them and they say, you should stay in a shelter tonight or whatever. It's getting cold. And some people will not stay in shelters. They just don't want to go there. I've seen shelters before, and sometimes the people that are in shelters that stay there are a collection of criminals, drug addicts, and psychotics with a few families thrown in.
Most men that I've known, that I've spoken to in this last 2.5 years, there are more men than women who are resistant to going inside, to going into shelters or SROs. Or single room occupancy. I don't know.
You think also because the women, maybe they have children, so they're more needy for shelter? Or safely? Guys have an easier time sleeping out on the street than a woman, you fear for your safety or something.
A lot of men do also. I just think that women are not as tough. But a lot of women stay outside. A lot of women live in the park. A lot of women sleep on the streets and doorways everywhere. I think maybe men could survive a little bit longer. They don't break down as quickly as women.
A lot of crowdedness, and you got women that just don't respect each other.
Based on the composition of some of the people who stay in shelters, I wouldn't want to stay there. So I can see why some people would rather sleep on the street even if it was cold, because it would give the impression of being safer than being in a closed environment with people that you wouldn't necessarily, because I've talked to homeless that have been beaten up in shelters or ripped off or have their lives threatened in shelters.
And they do have a lot of advocates, which I think part of the balance of power. You get the advocates for them, you get the people complaining about them, so it works itself out.
There's no money here. You got, between Newsom and Schwarzenegger and everybody else taking the money, there ain't no money here.
Anybody should be able to be wherever they want to in America or any place else in the world. But you got to pick yourself up off the ground and do something with yourself, because if you don't, then where are you going to be? You're going to still be on the ground.
Well, in the big picture, the limits of Care Not Cash and all of what we can do locally is it takes federal money to solve the problem, and the federal government, instead of trying to create more housing for low-income people, is trying to take away what's there. And so the Bush administration is trying its best to reverse all the progress we've made in cities across the country, and it's going to get worse. And the Schwarzenegger administration obviously is not interested in funding housing. So there's not any assistance coming in from we have a hostile federal government, an apathetic state, leader. So there's not the resources soon. Well, there won't. In San Francisco, they can only do so much.
And